It's Friday, it's the Betting Edge with the Prez. I'm Lawrence Presman, co-founder of WagerTalk Media, home of WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com, and the iconic Gold Sheet. I'm also humbly embarrassed yet slightly honored to be partnered with Marco D'Angelo. He is on the show today, same with Jeff from Keim Sports. We're talking 2 college football games, 2 NFL games, and Marco and I will likely make fun of each other while Jeff watches. I'm going to bring our guests in. Jeff, nice mic.
Prez, I'm glad you got me in this week.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago you came on the show and you couldn't figure out how to get your video working.
I'm glad you fixed the equipment on your end, Prez, and I'm ready to rock and roll and get those ratings up.
I see Pac-Man in the background.
Would you like to play?
No, but speaking of Pac-Man, Marco D'Angelo, welcome to the show.
Hey, Prez, how's it going?
I'm not on a 17-4 football run.
Don't jinx me. Don't jinx me.
Yeah, baby. You won last night with Memphis.
I love whenever Prez is on a game, though. In the first turnover, Jeff, I mean, it is like 2 minutes into the game, and there's a turnover, and my phone starts blowing up. Oh, my God, another turnover.
I called Carmine last night, and I said, Carm, I think you should block my number until tomorrow. Yeah.
We love you. Hey, Prez, I got good news for you. I might have got you a new follower because last night I was at the Venetian playing poker, and a guy recognized me at the table, and he says, man, I love your shows, Marco. He says, I watch you all the time. I said, hey, great, I appreciate that. Well, 20 minutes later, I turn the nuts. And the guy moves all in on me, the guy that loves the show. And I'm like, oh, God, he's not going to love the show no more when I got a call. And I said to him, I go, as I'm making the call, I said, I hope you still love the show after this. I make the call, and he goes, oh, God, you have King Queen, don't you? I said, yes, I do, for the nuts straight. And I had the redraw to the flush, which came on the river, too, for overkill. So you might be his favorite show now.
Well, I'm most people's favorite show, Marco. They might watch yours more, but they like mine better.
Okay, that's it.
Hey, dude. Jeff, Marco,
yes,
Gianni the Greek, and Kelly have put together a show called Bet on It, and
it's phenomenal.
It's actually unbelievable. I mean, the way the Greek compliments Marco. You know, Marco speaks first, makes no sense. Then the cleaner comes in, kills it. Then Kelly comes in with a smile, makes eyes to Marco. The show's unbelievable, Marco. In all seriousness, I mean, I don't watch a lot of these shows. I do watch yours. The production quality is ridiculous. I think this show has potential to be a monster, and I'm so excited about it. And listen, you know, I'm over the fact that I did the first online NFL 1 hour show. You saw how many views it got, so you jumped in and stole my host and produced your own. I'm over that. And then I get an email this week, Jeff, true story. So I'm like, you know what? Marco stole my show. I'll do a college football betting show with Koken and Teddy. 16,000 views last week. I get an email.
Wow.
Marco will be doing a college football betting show.
No way.
Yeah. Tomorrow.
You can talk to JD about that one, okay? The masses wanted it. JD said we need a college show. And
yeah, because they didn't have one, Jeff.
Version. Yeah, we didn't have that one. I'll give you that part, but your part about the NFL show that you keep whining about.
Oh, again. Your sound isn't working. Sound issues. Sound issues.
Yeah, back in Pennsylvania, what we used to do is when somebody would call us and we didn't want to hear anymore, I'm going through a tunnel, I'm going to lose you, because we had a lot of tunnels in Pittsburgh and shit. Yeah, that one doesn't work, Prez. I'm the master of that one.
Guys, East Carolina. Jeff, we're going to start with you first. 2-2 on the season, playing Old Dominion at 1-2. Close to a pick'em game. The home team is favored at -2.5. The over and under is 47.5. I have absolutely no opinion on this game, so I won't even try make one. Talk to me, my friend.
Well, I know this is one of the premier games this Saturday. Everyone's looking forward to watching it, but in all seriousness, this is one of my favorite games on Saturday. You have an Old Dominion squad coming off an emotional and physical loss to Virginia. They led 17-0 at one point with 10:32 left in the first half before they collapsed in the fourth. I think Virginia scored 28 unanswered points in that game to ultimately win. And I think Virginia was looking ahead to this week when they were playing Notre Dame. Old Dominion almost stole one. They lost narrowly at the end. And I think Old Dominion is in a horrible spot this week to play an undervalued East Carolina squad that has a new coach in Mike Houston. And one of the reasons why I'm so bullish on East Carolina this year and moving forward is because Mike Houston came over from James Madison, and he has had nothing but great success at that level, at the FCS level. He produced 37 wins, 2 conference titles, 2 national title games, appearances, and only 6 losses over 3 seasons. And he brought over his offensive coordinator, who is Donnie Kirkpatrick. And he is a run guru, and the Pirates desperately needed a run game, and they've been very strong so far this season. They're averaging 190 yards a game at 4.8 yards a carry. East Carolina, I'm showing at 3, I think, at most places in the market right now, but I really like the Pirates plus the points on the road to take down Old Dominion. And one final thing I'll say, Prez, is that the Monarchs have no home field advantage. If you look at their last 15 home games, they're 4-10-1 against the spread. So East Carolina in an outright underdog win.
Marco D'Angelo, do you agree with Jeff from Keim Sports, found at WagerTalk.com? Quite the name, Jeff.
I absolutely do. This is a great situational spot. As Jeff alluded to, the Virginia play last week, the Virginia game. Yeah, Virginia was in that look-ahead spot against Notre Dame. So they looked better in that game than they actually were. The situation is to go 1 week further back than that. Old Dominion's coming off of back-to-back games against, big guns, Power 5 conference teams. They played Virginia Tech the week before that, lost by 14, getting 29.5. This is a case of teams just basically coming in and looking past Old Dominion. It's not, a power school. It's not a flashy school. They're not going to get up for them. And Old Dominion is the little brother type team, is going to be up for those games. Now the public, and I like to refer to them as John Q. Public's going to look at this, and their thoughts are going to be, well, look at this. Back-to-back road games against Virginia Tech and Virginia. They held their own in both of those games, covered as big underdogs. Now they're at home looking to bounce back against another nobody in East Carolina, and it's -3. It's basically pick the winner. That's their mentality when they see the line, and they're going to rush to the Old Dominion side. It's the wrong side. I like East Carolina. I'm in some football contest. This is a play that I did use, East Carolina, so I agree with it 100%. And I'll throw a little stat in there. Jeff had talked about Old Dominion and their problems at home. East Carolina is a road underdog of 7 or less. The last 30 times, they're 22-8 in that situation. Live dog here, as my buddy VR would say from that #1 ranked betting show that you might have heard of, Prez. Sprinkle a little on East Carolina money line. They get it done outright.
He's Marco D'Angelo, guest on Kelly's Bet on It, and Jeff Keim from Keim Sports. We're going to take a quick commercial break and then get back, talk one more college football game, then give Jeff, what do you need, 20 minutes to promote your new show that doesn't exist?
15 is good enough, Prez.
And then 2 NFL shows, 2 NFL games. Hey guys, it's the Prez. Thanks so much for watching. Really quick, I just want to go through the the Prez video schedule, if you will. Every Monday to Friday, 5 days a week, we're going to have the Betting Edge. The Betting Edge will talk a couple of college football games, a couple of NFL games with different guests every day. Once basketball starts, it will include basketball as well, and every now and again UFC. It's an all-encompassing show that covers all sports except for the Rugby World Cup, because Marco D'Angelo can't talk rugby. That Marco. As well, every Monday to Friday, we will be doing Puck Time. Puck Time starts on Wednesday this week when the NHL season begins. Puck Time will include myself and 2 guests each day, Alex B. Smith, Andrew McGinnis, Dave Koken, Buster Sports, and Carmine. We'll be taking apart 4 games a day, plus briefly looking at the rest of the card. Also, you get the college football betting show taped every Tuesday with Dave Koken and Teddy Covers, and watch out for Marco D'Angelo's. He'll be guesting on Kelly's college football betting show, so check that out, another show that they stole from me. And the NFL presidential address with Ralph, which we tape every single Wednesday. And you could also see Ralph on Kelly's NFL betting show called Bet On It, the #1 most watched sports gambling show on the internet. Marco is lucky to be a guest on that one as well. Marco, what? Are you not a guest?
Yeah, no, Prez, whatever makes you sleep at night, you go ahead. I know it's been a rough time for you.
Well, you know what makes me,
accepting defeat. Whatever makes you feel good, buddy.
Marco, Jeff, let me ask you something in all seriousness. Say there's like a host of a show, and they sit here, and then you have 2 people who sit here, and they respond to the host of the show. What would you call the 2 people sitting here responding to this host?
Well, Prez, I would say that people tuning in are interested in hearing what the guests have to say.
Oh, I agree.
Usually the host just basically directs the show, and the guests provide the substantive information to the show. So I'm not sure. Maybe I guess Marco and I are all-stars to the show. I guess for the Pro Bowlers to the show, because that's what people want to hear.
Marco is thinking to himself, yeah, Prez, so shut up and let us do our work. Yeah. Okay, Marco, go shower on me. Bring it. As the Brits would say, piss on the Prez. Go ahead.
Prez, I don't have to. I get my joy just going in and reading the comment sections and how many people comment on some of your styles on the show. So you know what? It's all good. I want you to have fun. This is your therapy, okay? It was either we have to get the bill for you going and seeing your therapist and laying on the couch saying, oh my God, Marco has the #1 rated show. I can't catch a break. And, us pay $100 an hour for you to go do that. Or we just let you make fun of me. So it was cheaper this
You
way.
have therapists in America that work for $100 an hour? Do you know that there's an actual law in Canada? They have to charge $200 an hour is the floor.
Wait, but you have universal health care, don't you?
Yeah, it doesn't count therapy when Marco D'Angelo is involved. Stanford, miserable football team. 1-3 on the season, playing Oregon State 1-2. The road team, though, finds themselves as the favorite, -3.5. The over and under 58. Blue-eyed Jeff Oskim.
You like it, right? Look at that.
Yeah, I'd take them off.
So here's what we have. I'm a big David Shaw fan, and I am very disappointed.
He's a big fan of yours, by the way.
I know he is. We do. We text every once in a while, some advice for him. But I'll tell you what, this Oregon State team coming into the season, I had them circled as one of the most underrated teams in the nation. Their returning production, they're ranked 23rd in returning production and 7th in percentage of tackles returning. And their offensive line has 92 career starts. They have a phenomenal quarterback. I shouldn't say phenomenal. That's an overstatement. But a senior quarterback, well experienced with Jake Luton. And the coaching staff was raving about him over the summer. He added some weight and some muscle to him, which he desperately needed after the past couple of years. And the key to this game is that Jamar Jefferson is healthy. Oregon State's coming off a bye. He had the whole week to get that walking boot off his foot. And he is upgraded to probable to playing in this game. And this team is ready to take down in Corvallis. They're going to take down Stanford, who have lost 3 in a row. If you look at this Cardinal team, Marco, I mean, they've scored 2 touchdowns in the last 10 quarters. And over the last 3 games that they've lost 3 straight, they're allowing 37 points and 452 total yards. I mean, this is a nightmare for the Cardinal, and I don't see them going to Corvallis and winning this game. And frankly, I don't understand the market going from 3 at the opening of 3 to 4.5. I think it's 4.5 right now. I'll gladly take the points. If you look at college football home teams off a bye, they're 88, 57, and 1 against the spread in Game 4 if they won their game the prior week before the rest. And better yet, if these teams are 34 and 14 when playing with revenge, including 30 and 8 in conference affairs. And let's remember the 2 of the last 3 times Stanford has gone to Oregon State and Corvallis, the games have come down to the final seconds. This game is going to be close, and I think the Beavers are going to walk away with the outright win.
Mr. D'Angelo, show us what everyone will hear on the upcoming, soon-to-be #1 most-watched college football show on the internet.
Well, guys, we're doing the same format as we do in the NFL. We talk about a couple of the primetime games. Then we go into our barking dog segment. Then we do our best bets. And it's just a fun show. We have a lot of back and forth with Kelly and VR. The chemistry, it seems like almost everybody comments on the chemistry that the 3 of us have. And, VR, him and I go back for, a decade. We've done stuff together. And then Kelly is just so ecstatic because she escaped this other show to come to this one. So she's happy as a lark, and it just all, blends together. But getting to this game, and I'm going to tell you, I agree with Jeff again on this one, and I'm going to bring out a couple more points. You talk about Stanford, and when you think about Stanford, the first thing that comes to mind when you think of a David Shaw team is how good they are defensively. Yeah. That is absolutely the furthest thing from the truth this season. This team can't stop anybody. They're ranked 111th out of 130 teams in college football this year. They're giving up 6.3 yards per play. Now, granted, in the last 3 weeks, they've played 3 good offenses. You had Southern Cal, then you had Central Florida, and then, of course, Oregon last week. But the public is going to look at this and say, because of those 3 teams that they played, they're going to automatically expect this team to bounce back. And they're going to dismiss Oregon State because it's Oregon State. But I want you to look at their 3 games. They opened the season against a very good Oklahoma State team. They put up 36 points. Yes, they gave up 52 points, but they were able to trade points with them for most of the game. Then they came back after that big game against Oklahoma State and had to travel to Hawaii. That's a horrible spot for any college football team going to Hawaii. It's a big distraction with being on the islands and everything else. Too often teams treat it as a vacation or a reward instead of an actual game. They did lose there, but they were getting 7.5 in that game, only lost by 3. And if you remember, just the week before that, Hawaii went up and down the field on an Arizona team that was ranked much higher in the Pac-12 this year. Then they had Cal Poly. And as Jeff said, they had a bye week coming into this one. Basically, they've had 2-week bye because Cal Poly, they just had to show up and win that game. They have been preparing for Stanford basically for 2 weeks now. Nothing but Stanford. And Oregon State is what I refer to as a 200 club team. A 200 club team is a team that offensively rushes and passes both for over 200 yards. Why I like teams like that? Well, it's simple. If you're a defensive coordinator, this presents nightmares for you. What do you design your game plan? Do we want to take away the run? and have them burn us on the pass when we try to bring the guys up and stack the box? Or do we go back into coverage and let them beat us over the middle all day long? This is why I love teams that are balanced offensively like that and can get to 200 yards, both running and passing. I love Oregon State in this game. Honestly, it's because of name, really, that Stanford's favored in this game. This game should be a pick 'em. In all honesty, I like Oregon State, and getting the points is just a bonus. I'm going to go ahead and take Oregon State plus the points in this one against Stanford.
Marco, which team do you like?
Oregon State. And Prez, throw in the other part of the situation.
Please, no muss.
Do you see who they got next month?
No more, man.
Look at who they got next week. They got Washington. Stanford, if you look at their schedule and you played the 3 teams they just played, and you've got Washington on deck, yeah, you're 1-3. You're not supposed to look past anybody, but this is the soft spot in that schedule where they can look past them. I like Oregon State, in case you didn't catch that the first several times.
Yeah, so here's what I learned from that take.
I think he was distracted by his phone. Was that your phone going off, Prez?
No, not my phone at all. I put my ringer
like
off.
The vibrating or something? I was hearing vibrating during Marco's presentation. I wasn't sure what that was.
Yeah, so my phone is off. There's no sound, but I did kick back during Marco's 17-minute dissertation on a particular game. And now I understand why you don't take apart every NFL game on the board, like what is being done on the NFL presidential address. You are the most loquacious cat on the planet.
Quality, Prez, not quantity. That's what it's about.
No, you're both, baby. With great love, you are both quality and quantity. Not even close to as handsome as Jeff. Jeff, you got to come on a show with Joe Ranieri and me. You actually look like the guy. Marco, do you know what Joe looks like?
I absolutely do. I went to Florida and was at the Florida Derby with him. Great guy. We had a few drinks afterwards. He can't go toe-to-toe with Ralph. Okay? You know, he put
Nobody can go toe-to-toe with Ralph. Although, I bet you Dwayne Bryant can.
You know, he wants to. Dwayne's been out here and he's hooked up with Ralph, but Ralph is still, and no disrespect or pun intended, he is the heavyweight drinking champion here in Las Vegas.
Oh, but wait a minute. But I saw pictures of Ralph out drinking Michelob Ultras or Miller Lights or something.
Those are the only 2 beers he drinks. I know. It's like drinking piss.
I mean, talk about training wheels. I mean, he can't be a champion drinking that water. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I took him once to a craft beer place, and they didn't have Miller Lite there. It was all craft beers. Yeah. He literally cried. I mean, he will never go back there again. He loved the food he had and everything.
Yep.
And he even had a German dish. You know, he loves his schnitzel or whatever. And but he said, I cannot come back here. They don't. I can't drink any of the beer.
Austrian, and listeners, when you type in that there's so much small talk and the show never ends and all we've done is discuss 2 games in 25 minutes, please understand that it is not my fault this time around. Quick commercial break. We're right back with 2 NFL games. Hey, everybody, real quick. Marco D'Angelo's on a 17-4 football run. You can get 30 days of all these plays for literally $225. That's $100 off. That promo will not last. You don't need a promo code. Just head over to WagerTalk.com. $225 for Marco D'Angelo's 30 days of plays. And if you've watched, we've had a scroll on the bottom talk about Marco. I'm going to move that scroll to our NHL guys. I just want to give you a quick synopsis. Puck Time was taped yesterday. The preview shows the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference. I know Marco's not on the screen, but he can still hear the show. Puck Time is a show about hockey. 5 guys on the ice against each other. Great shows, but in all seriousness, Marco's killing it in football. Dave Koken's college football for the last 3 years is as good as it gets. Teddy's NFL over the last 3 years is as good as it gets. Hakeem Profits in NBA is mind-blowingly good. Ralph Michaels in college basketball is an absolute machine. Yet none of them can touch Buster Sports and Carmine Bianco in NHL. It is the sport that we as a group do best at. So if you want some money, make sure to buy their season package. It's $595 till Wednesday. For our listeners, you can get $100 off. Use the promo code NHL100. Buster did 120% return on investment last year, and Carmine was at 115%. Guys, let's talk NFL. Let's start with the Minnesota-Chicago game, and I think this is going to be one of the most bet games of the weekend. I think this is a really good game and a very important game for both teams. Both teams are down a game in their division, which could come into play. This division is going to be very, very tight. And look, you know, we saw Minnesota lay the smackdown last week, and Chicago, I mean, their offense just can't get going. I understand they put up a bunch of points against Washington last week. That's largely because I was on the under in that play. And a whole lot of those points came on turnovers, which is my specialty. If ever you want a turnover in a play, just buy one of my plays, and then you'll know there will be a turnover. Marco, I'll go to you first because everybody has already watched the NFL presidential address and they know my take on this game. What's yours?
What was your take on the game?
Watch my show, Marco.
Oh, you know, tell me. I need to know. I don't have time to go through every NFL game. Was this one of your strong plays?
Yes, I love Minnesota. Bottom line, I think they're a better team. I think their defense is underrated compared to Chicago's defense. Look, I respect the fact that everybody thinks Minnesota's got a good defense. I think their defense is basically as good as Chicago's outside of the edge rushers. Delvin Cook is definitely better than anybody coming out of Chicago's backfield. Minnesota's got two of the best tandem wide receivers in the league. Minnesota has a better quarterback. Minnesota is a hard team to run against. Minnesota has a better coach. Minnesota has a better uniform. They don't have a better uniform. That's not true. I think Minnesota wins this game outright. So to quote the great Marco, who quotes the even greater Gianni, sprinkle a little on the money line too. There's my take, Marco.
And that is going to be the exact take of everybody that looks at this ball game. Nobody's going to want Chicago here, especially when it comes to the teaser side of this game, because this is the classic plus EV teaser. You're taking Minnesota up with a 6-point teaser through all of the key numbers in a low-scoring game. I am going to just say this, guys. This is a game that I've got a very bad feeling on. This will be the most popular teased game of all of the games on the NFL Sunday card. The books are going to need Chicago bad in this game. I think Chicago can get it done in this one, and here is why. Minnesota, Kirk Cousins, they're not winning because of Kirk Cousins. They're winning because of Dalvin Cook. And they're going to be facing the number 4 rushing defense in the NFL. They're giving up just 68 yards per game, 3.1 yards per carry. Now, if Dalvin Cook cannot put up the numbers, then that shifts the onus onto Kirk Cousins. Do you trust him going on the road in a hostile environment and winning you a ball game against a team with a winning record? Over his career, he has a horrible record against winning teams.
That's true.
This is to play ball, go into Soldier Field. I know that Trubisky has not looked good. But let's be realistic. The first game of the season was against Green Bay. And that was the Thursday night game. And the starters don't play that much in preseason. Green Bay's defense, you wouldn't tell it last night, but was supposed to be much improved this season. and it was a dogfight of a game, 10-3. He made some bonehead plays, and yes, everybody, was shitting on him as they should have. Then he went and played Denver. That Denver game, remember, the head coach of Denver was the defensive coordinator of the Bears. So he knew this team inside and out, and Denver has a good defense. So another tough game, another tough defense. And then we saw last week when he faced a average defense, he put points on the board. 31 points, a lot of it was fueled by turnovers, no question, but once they got the ball, they still had to convert, and they did. I think that gives him confidence going into this game. And you take Minnesota, take them out of the dome, and put them at Chicago in a game where it's going to be pick the winner and come down to maybe a field goal at the end of the game. I don't know that I trust either kicker on these two teams. I'm going to go ahead and take Chicago at home. Remember last year, they had many big games, and I can't help but remembering the game against the Rams on Sunday Night Football, of how big of a game that was and how they delivered and how that defense made Jared Goff and the rest of the Rams' number one offense at the time look pedestrian. I'm going to go ahead and take Chicago in this game. And I'll tell you what, if they end up winning by more than 8 points, the books will be doing the happy dance up and down Las Vegas Boulevard on Sunday, because it will kill every teaser that is in play on Sunday.
Jeff Ostheim, I didn't hear an opinion from Marco. What do you like, buddy?
Well, Prez, I hate to say this, but I agree with you. I could not disagree more with Marco in this situation, so maybe I should reevaluate my my handicapping of this game. But I'm going to stick with the Vikings. I'm going to sprinkle some on the money line. I am sick and tired of people making excuses for Trubisky.
Yeah,
look at
ridiculous.
what he's done. I mean, enough is enough with the training wheels and the screen passes and everything else. He currently ranks 29th in the league in total QBR. He's averaging 5.6 yards per pass attempt and ranks 34th among quarterbacks, with only Josh Rosen averaging fewer yards per attempt. He is one of the worst quarterbacks, I think Marco may have alluded to this, under pressure. He completes only 41.4% of his pass attempts under duress compared to 74.3% with a clean pocket. And you look at the history he's had against the Minnesota Vikings. He has a 69 quarterback rating and has averaged only 158 yards and 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions with a sub 60% completion rate in 4 career games against the Vikings. This Bears offense is terrible. They rank 30th in yards per play, ahead of only the Jets and the Dolphins. And if we could just slow down a minute with the Bears beating the Redskins last week, and I think that is where the public is going to see, and they're going to say to themselves, wow, the Bears are finally, they're back. Trubisky is actually breaking out. This could be the season for him. Unfortunately, he was terrible in the game, and the Redskins actually outgained the Bears in that game. So it was an inside-out win for Chicago. This team is not as good as people think. I think Cook is going to have a good day for the Vikings. I would take the Vikings plus the points in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it any other way. And I mean, Marco, you mentioned that the Vikings are the 4th best rush D in football.
Chicago's the 4th.
Chicago, they're the 5th best, but let's not split hairs. Yeah.
But they have injuries.
It's really, really tough to stop the running game of Green Bay, Washington, and Denver. It's so hard. I wonder, well, Green Bay doesn't run the ball. Let's game plan for Denver. They don't throw the ball. Let's stick 20 guys in the box. Stop the run. Let's game plan for Washington. They can't do anything. Yeah. All Chicago has is 2 really good pass rushers, edge rushers. We are not on the same page, but man, I love doing shows with you. Oh, and by the way, remember the time when people used to comment about Kelly and my chemistry?
Yeah. No, once upon a time.
Yeah,
Is that what you opened your therapy session with?
Living in the past. Living in the past.
Kelly was my girl.
There was a time.
She only had eyes for me.
Okay.
And then that bald, fat guy from Vegas stole her from me.
Jacksonville versus Denver. -3 for Jacksonville. Minus
+3.
Yeah, minus. I was just about to say -3 for Denver. Marco, just go. Just talk.
Oh, Prez. I actually have fun making fun of you, but you know what? This is a game that I think you're going to get some Denver backers with the public, because they are going to look at the Denver Broncos, see them at 0-3, and have the old must-win attached to this game. And there's no question about it. Their season's over if they lose this game. I have problems taking Denver and laying any points with them because of the incompetence of their offense so far. 16, 14, 16 points is all they've been able to score in their first 3 games.
But yet you're willing to take Chicago.
I am, but in this game, I do lean to Denver, but it's not a game that's going to make my card. Full disclosure, one of my 4 losses in that 17-4 run was Denver last week against Green Bay. That was the most misleading game of the NFL card last week.
We'll agree to disagree on that, Marco, but I don't want to keep this show going for 7 hours.
Well, I know every game you were involved in had like 72 turnovers, but if you watch this game in the first half, Denver had 3 turnovers, 2 of them deep in their territory that gave Green Bay quick scores. And the third turnover was deep in Green Bay's territory, where they cost themselves 3 or 7 points out of that by turning it over. Denver should have been winning this game. Instead, was losing the game with like a 12-minute edge in the first half in time of possession. In the second half, they didn't do anything. Joe Flacco even sent out a tweet of a live shot of him scrambling in the pocket. I just sent out a statue. The guy just stands there. But Jacksonville had their Thursday night game. They had their spotlight game, got the job done. Gardner Minshew, flavor of the week. Everybody likes his pizzazz, and he comes out with the crazy dress that he has. I don't trust Jacksonville on the road here. They still got problems internally with Ramsey and what's going on with him. The offense finally put up some points last week, but they're playing in a tough venue. If I had to play the game, and I hate this phrase, if you put a gun to my head, and I know Prez, when he sees the ratings every week, would like to put a gun to my head, I lean to Denver.
Marco, no one is cheering for you more than me. No one.
And nobody's bitching more about me than you. Love you, man.
Jeff, you need to put the glasses on for this analysis?
No, I'm ready to go. You ready for this? I disagree with Marco again. Denver has opened the season 0-3 for the first time since 1999. Everything I've read there is that the atmosphere inside the locker room is getting worse by the day. The players are turning on one another. It's been a very frustrating start to the season. And much like my play against the Bears and on Minnesota, I'm going to be taking, in this situation, I'll be fading Joe Flacco, the human corpse, because he can't move. And here's the problem with the Denver offense, which is completely incompetent. They've run over 205 plays this season so far. They're one of 4 teams that have had that many plays offensively. They only have 4 plays of 30 or more yards. I mean, that is crazy. And one of the problems is their offensive line. They've yielded 11 sacks through the first 3 weeks. And Joe Flacco is one of 6 quarterbacks to have who has been sacked at least 10 times this season. And the issue is going to be in the trenches for Denver. They have 2 of the worst offensive linemen in the league, and that is Garrett Bowles, who ranks 32nd in Football Outsiders pass blocking grades, and I believe Elijah Wilkinson ranks 63rd. I mean, Bowles, if you remember him, he was a first-round draft pick in 2017 for the Broncos. He has had over, I think, 5 or more offensive holding penalties so far, and 26 overall since he's entered the league. No other offensive lineman has eclipsed 15 holding penalties over that same time frame. I mean, Denver can't block. Their offensive coordinator is much like Shanahan is for the 49ers. He likes to utilize play action pass, but he can't. One, because Flacco is struggling to throw the ball, and two, the offensive line cannot protect him. So now they're changing their entire scheme on the run here. Not a good situation in Denver, and now they're going up against a Jaguars pass rush that is ranked first in the league with 13 sacks. They sacked Mariota 9 times in week 3 and Watson 4 times in week 2. I really like this Jacksonville team on the road. I mean, if you look at Flacco, a 69 passer rating of play action. So he can't even complete passes when they do use play action. I don't see how they win the battle in the trenches. I like Jacksonville as a live underdog going to Denver and winning this game.
He's Jeff from Keim Sports, Marco D'Angelo, the co-founder of WagerTalk Media, and my buddy. Even though we make fun of each other, he's a good dude. I mean, he needs Gianni and VR and Kelly to get views, but that's okay. I don't even have either of them around. Nope. I put on a show on Monday, 8,000 views. Psh.
Who was on that show Monday?
Oh yeah, it was you.
Hey, Prez, let's turn this into a drinking game for everybody that watches. Every time you bust my balls or I bust your balls, the viewers have to take a shot.
Yeah.
They will be toasted.
I don't want to read their comments, dude. No. Guys, that's the end of the show. Thanks so much, Jeff and Marco. Make sure to check back Monday. Marco and I will be doing the NFL opening line report. Jeff is trying to get himself on that show. He's weaseling his way in. Marco and I will have a vote later today. But make sure to check back on Monday for the NFL Week 5 opening line report. Guys, it was a real pleasure. Don't sleep on Marco, everybody. Although he looks very comfortable and you won't need a pillow, don't sleep on Marco. 17-4 football run, and you can get him for $225 for 30 days. What, Jeff? What?
Better him than me, I'll tell you what, Marco. I don't know. You need a backup here. This is getting worse by the week.
Well, I'll tell you what,
worse
Jeff.
by the week. But you know why he's attacking you? There's a reason, right? I mean, obviously, he's threatened by you. Let's be candid about it. He knows what's happening.
And Jeff, you can be on Monday's show, especially if Chicago and Denver wins, because I want to talk to you on Monday.
Jeff, that's what he did to me last week. Like, no joke. That's literally what he did to me last week. Guys, that's the end of the show. See you all Monday. Thanks so much for watching, and let every ball bounce in your direction. I know they won't in mine.